Hello, horse guys and gals. Welcome back. I'm Michaela, and this is the Horse Girl Hype. I forget to say my name a lot, so I had to throw that in there today because I just try to do it every once in a while because I've gotten people that have come to either my channel or my videos before and are like, yeah, what is your name? I can't find it anywhere. So it's Michaela. Welcome back. Sorry if you can hear my washing machine. It's like way in the other room, but I'm using my new microphone today and I can hear it in my headphones, but I don't know if you guys will actually be able to hear it. And I also just want to say the last episode where I thought I was using my new microphone, I'm pretty sure wasn't working at all. At least when I listened to it back a little bit, I was like, yeah, this doesn't sound like the mic was like inputting at all. So that's embarrassing. But today I'm pretty sure it's working. I have it selected, so it should be working. I hope it sounds better. But it sounds super loud in my headphones. I don't know. It's at like almost the lowest setting. So I don't know how it's gonna sound when I listen to this back. We'll just have to experiment with it. But I am giving my client horses the day off today because it's like windy and like on and off raining. It's just like not nice outside at all. So I'm giving them the day off, and I've just been inside cleaning, and that's basically all I've done today is clean. Just like sometimes, especially I feel like us horse girls or ranchers or like, blue collar, like outdoorsmen, you just don't spend that much time in your house. So when you do, like on a rainy day like this, I'm just looking around and everything is disgusting. There's like dead bugs all over the floor. We live in the like middle of a big timber, so we get like the box elder bugs so bad, and they just make their way inside and then they die everywhere. So there's like dead bugs everywhere, like plant leaves falling off everywhere. There's just a bunch of dirt from like Thomas wearing his shoes through the house, and I'm like, oh my god, it's literally disgusting in here. I don't want to touch anything. The like counters are disgusting. And this like the dust gets so built up, and you just don't even notice until you have to like sit in your house all day and you're like, oh yeah, it's horrific in here. So I just have been cleaning most of the morning, repotting some plants, and yeah, my laundry's going behind me, so sorry if you can hear it. And I figured it would be a good day to sit down and do a podcast episode because I'm not outside riding, but I have one client horse here right now. His name is Sunny, and he has kind of an interesting story. The lady brought him to me. She messaged me a little bit about him first on my page because she wasn't sure if I would take him, but he's about 18 years old. She thinks like late teens, something like that. And he's never been started under saddle. So she was like, do you take horses like that? Because there's a lot of trainers out there now that don't take horses over like 3 or 4 years old, which I think is like ludicrous. But anyway, we talked a little bit about him, and I was like, I can't make you any promises, but I'd be willing for you to bring him and I can see what I can do with him, and we'll give him a chance. So he's here, and he is at least part, if not full thoroughbred. And he got rescued. So this girl, his owner, rescued him, I guess, from some people that just couldn't handle him his whole life. So he literally lived in a stall his entire life. And when she got him, they rescued him from that situation. He was living in a stall with like a foot of manure built up in the stall, and it was frozen, so they couldn't get him out. So I don't know what all they ended up doing, but she said that was basically the situation he came from, and because the people just like couldn't really handle him his whole life, they just put him in a stall, and that's where he lived up until last year, when she got him. So he's here, and I just pressed stop. the reason that he's here is because she wanted him to be started under saddle, and she thinks that he would still be good at it because since she's had him, he's very willing, he's very friendly, like especially if you have treats and stuff, which is like typical gelding. But you know, he is a very kind of sweet horse. So she was like, you know, I think he could still be ridden, you know, for a few years until he was like too old or something, but he's super attached to her mare. And so I was like, you know, especially if you're going to be riding mostly together or just putzing around your farm, like there's no reason you couldn't hop on him once in a while if he knew what he was doing. So he's here and I'm starting him. We've had a couple rough days. The one thing that I'm finding with him is that he's very emotionally and mentally delayed. So it's been a little bit rough. We've had to crack down a couple times on like the tantrums, and he doesn't focus very well. He's got a very short attention span. So keeping him focused, making sure I don't work him for too long because I don't want to push him past like what he's actually able to do mentally, and like until he just blows up or explodes. Or just completely loses his attention altogether and is not like checked in with me at all anymore, because then we're not making forward steps. So doing shorter sessions, asking for a little bit at a time. He doesn't have any critical thinking skills. So when he is confronted with something that he either doesn't know how to do or is out of his comfort zone, he has a really hard time like stopping and thinking about the situation and then trying something. So that's kind of what we've been working through. He's had a really hard time accepting a cinch. So I've just been using a surcingle on him, and we had a couple of rough days. He's a kicker. His default is to basically just kick and punch his back legs. And so he bucked the surcingle all the way off one day, and I had to literally like just J-rig a breast collar out of some twine that I found on the ground because I didn't have one with me at the time, and I needed to get it back on him. I couldn't let this session stop until he had it back on and was able to work with it on. So I was like, I gotta find something to tie it around his chest, because no matter how hard he bucks, it's gonna slip backwards. And that's what it was doing, was just the more that he kicked and the more that he bucked and like elongated his body, basically it would slide backwards into his flank, which doesn't help anything. So I found some twine on the ground. I like tied it around his chest, made it into like some sort of breast collar, and we just went until he could lunge a little bit with it on both directions. Just at a walk was fine. I was like, you have to do something with it on. You cannot just keep bucking and kicking your way out of this problem. So eventually we got there. He did a few circles with it on because he was so exhausted and I made him work, and he was like, okay, I just have to get through this. So once he did it both ways, I just took it off and we were done for the day. But that was on Monday. Today's Friday. So he's been doing really good with it the last couple days. We've been tightening it a little bit at a time. He struggles with it just being like tightened right up. So I put it on, snug it, we lunge a little bit, I tighten it a little more, we lunge it a little bit. And, you know, you just have to get there gradually with him because he doesn't have the skill built up yet of how to think through his problems. So we're getting there, but he's definitely got a long ways to go. He's got a lot of developmental progress to make. And then I feel like he's done really, really good the last 3-4 days. So I feel like next week we can start introducing the saddle. Again, I won't be able to just tighten it right up, but at least start reintroducing it back to him. He's had a saddle on a couple times, she said, so it's not something that like he's never seen before. It's just his willingness to do it. So yeah, yesterday I put him on my little pallet bridge, and he wasn't a huge fan of that, but we did get 2 feet on it. Actually, I think he walked all the way across it. So, you know, he was able to get there. He needs patience and time. So, and I did tell his owner, I was like, he's probably going to need more than 30 days, especially, you know, being at that age. and never having done anything in his life, literally just living in a box his entire life. So he might be here for more than 30 days. We'll see what she wants to do. But I'm not one of those trainers yet that requires people to keep their horses here for more than 30 days. I know a lot of colt starters do require at least 2 months, but I kind of almost feel like I could tell people they have to keep them here for 2 months, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they will. I mean, they could pull them at any time, I guess. So yeah, we'll just see how long she wants to keep him here. And with that, I gave him today off because of the weather outside, and my ring is dirt, so it's gonna be muddy and slippery. Hazel, did I tell you guys I rode Hazel in the last episode? I honestly don't remember, but I rode her a couple weeks ago. Melanie is hopefully gonna come out this weekend sometime if the weather holds up and there's like some decency somewhere, and I'm gonna get back on her. I don't trust her enough yet to just jump on her and ride her around at home, but hopefully Melanie will come out, because last weekend we were at the Midwest Horse Fair, so I wasn't able to get on her then. But yeah, so I did a little groundwork with her. Was it yesterday? The day before yesterday. Just saddled her, did some lunging in the round pen and stuff with her. And her attitude since she's been home has been so like chipper, and her and Rojo are best buds, which is so funny because she is one of the smallest in there, and Rojo I think is the biggest now, but he's only like 2 years old. And it's just funny, I catch them all the time like grooming each other and scratching each other's backs, and it's so cute. But yeah, she's coming around. I started her on CBD, which is some supplements I got at the horse fair. So I've started her and Sugar on CBD pellets. They are 1,500 milligrams, and we'll see how they do. They smell so bad. But I started her and Sugar on them for different reasons. Hazel, I started her on them because she is very spooky. She's still Mustang. She's still the same Hazel she was when she left, but she's still spooky. She's still reactive sometimes over literally stupid stuff. Like, when I rode her a couple weeks ago, Melanie like dropped the whip on the ground, and Hazel freaking spooked. And spooked more because I was on her, but just stuff like that, just to like bring down her just heightened awareness a little bit. And then Sugar, I started on for her sore hocks. So the body worker thought she had sore hocks. So I'd like to get her into the body worker again too in the next couple weeks or so, whenever I get paid again, basically. But yeah, we went to the Midwest Horse Fair last weekend. It was really good. We had a good time. We stayed at the American Inn in Madison. I think there's a few. I don't remember exactly where ours was. It was like 15-20 minutes from the fairgrounds. And you guys, it was a little sketch. Like, the American Inn is usually a nice hotel, so I was like, you know, it's not like super fancy or anything. I think it was like $100 a night, so it was fine. Or at least the American Inn usually is fine. But we got to this one and we were like, this is a little sketch. Just the building was really weird. I mean, it was nicely painted. It was clean. Our room was clean, and like there was nothing wrong with it, but it had super low ceilings, which was weird. And then we started just taking the stairs because the elevator was kind of sketchy. It was like one of those where you could hear like the chain and the gears like grinding as the elevator goes up and down. And then it like stopped at one of the floors, almost like, so like an elevator, the box that you stand in, I think has to like line up with some magnets that then like it like clicks into the magnets and then the door opens so you can go out. And we just like sat there like it wasn't meeting up with the magnets, and we just sat there for like, I swear, 60 to 90 seconds, and the door just wasn't opening, and me and Thomas were looking at each other like, this is uncomfortable. And then finally the door opened. We were like, oh my god, okay, we're just gonna take the stairs because this is a little weird. But yeah, the pool was super small. I brought a swimsuit because Thomas likes to go to the pool if there's an indoor pool, but it was like actually so small that it wasn't even worth it. And then our room was so small. It was literally the smallest hotel room I think I've ever booked. I just booked like a one queen bed hotel room because like with just the two of us, we didn't need like a double bedroom or anything. So I booked a one bedroom. We come in and it's like one of those where the sink and mirror and stuff isn't actually in the bathroom with the toilet, which was fine. Like a lot of hotel rooms are like that. But then you walk past that, it is like the queen size bed, just enough room to walk on either side of it from the walls, and then the TV in front. And that's it. So I was like, this is the smallest thing I've ever stayed in. Like I said, it was clean. It was well decorated. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. But I was like, they didn't leave any room for accessories, that's for sure. But yeah, we had a good time at the horse fair. We ate a lot of food truck food. That's Thomas's favorite part of going, is going to all of the food trucks. So we did that. The only issue is that the food trucks are so expensive. If you've ever been to the horse fair, you know that like the food is just so expensive at the food trucks. You can go to like the concession stands in the Coliseum and it's like regular concessions prices, like, you know, $5 for a hot dog or like, you know, something like that. But the food trucks, they do not mess around. We went, and Thomas loves gyros. So there was a gyro stand out there. We each got €1, which is like almost the size of like a soft shell taco. You know, it's not very big. $14 each. So we each got one of those. And Thomas, he's very loose with his money, so he just brought a bunch of cash basically to be able to eat at the food trucks. So he bought the gyros, and then like one little gyro isn't a lot to fill you up. So we were like, yeah, we're both kind of still hungry. So then we're like, well, I might as well just go find something else. So then we went and found something else. I can't remember what we ate after that. But we went to some other food truck, spent like another $13 on each something there. I had one of those like bubble waffles, you know, the waffles that look like, they don't look like regular waffles. They almost look like bubble wrap. They call them bubble waffles. I had one of those filled with ice cream that was like $13. I think we paid like $10 for like one of those little tiny trays of cheese curds. Yeah, it's expensive. So you definitely have to take a lot of cash. Or you just have to bring your own like snacks with you or something in a bag. But, you know, Thomas isn't about that life, so whatever. And then did a lot of shopping. I got almost everything on my list that I wanted. I got a stick and string, or like a training whip. And then I got some hobbles. They weren't really the hobbles that I wanted, but I couldn't find a used pair. Like a nice pair of leather hobbles, brand new, is like $100. I was like, okay, I'm not doing that. But I got a pair of just the nylon ones with the chain in the middle for like $12. What else? I got the CBD pellets. I got this pole strap that you can like slide onto your halter or put on your bridle or whatever, that has magnets in it. So it's magnetic therapy like pole. It's just a strap, I guess, and you just put it on your halter and stuff. So I wanted to try that. I got a bag, and then we went to, I got Makati reins too for my Bozell for Hazel. And then we went to Dollar Tree and I got some brushes to put on the trees, like some, you know, like what do you call them? Just like a broom head is what I'm thinking of. And I want to drill those into like some posts or some trees out there for the horses to scratch on. But yeah, we got a good amount of shopping done. Thomas found a vest that he wanted, and I hauled all this on my last vlog, my Midwest Horse Fair vlog, so you can see it there. But yeah, lots of shopping. We watched some clinics. We started on Saturday by watching a lateral work clinic, because that's one thing that I lack is in my training is like teaching my horses how to move laterally and stuff. So I saw that they had a lateral work clinic going on Saturday morning. So we go to that. It ended up being a dressage clinic. I don't remember the clinician's name, but I guess I wasn't expecting it to be dressage. It didn't like say that it was dressage on the schedule. So I sat in on that. Thomas was so annoyed because he had no idea what was going on. And I don't understand dressage a whole lot, but I could follow what the guy was trying to teach them. And Thomas was just like, I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on. And the horse he's telling him to move sideways, and the horse looks like he's just walking straight. And the guy was like working with the students on moving with like shoulders in. So the horse would like basically angle the front half of its body in, but still need to walk straight. And Thomas was like, I don't get it. It looks like the horse is walking in a straight line. So I was like, do you want to just go find something else to do? And then he felt bad because he thought he was annoying me. But yeah, he didn't get it, which is fine. I learned, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know if I learned anything from it, but it was interesting to watch. We watched Amberly Snyder was there doing a barrel clinic with some girls. And so we watched that for a little while, and I kind of was able to learn some stuff about like the drills she was doing and some exercises. And then we watched polo cross because Thomas was interested in like watching people play polo, which this was not like people playing polo, but it was a lady who coaches these teams. And so they were basically just doing a demo on polo cross and what it is, like the rules of the game, how these girls like just literally pick up the ball from the ground on their horses. And that's what I wanted to see. I was like, I've seen them do it on video, and they just literally like swoop down to the ground and pick up this ball without getting off their horse. And I learned that I think just the polo cross players, the polo, like regular polo, they don't have this, but the polo cross players have a strap that goes underneath their horse's belly that ties their stirrups together. So when they need to just dive to the ground and pick up the ball, they just like hook their foot in the opposite stirrup, and they can lean down and basically just hang themselves on the stirrup on the other side to dive down, grab the ball, and bring themselves back up. So the ball also has like these handles on it. It's got like solid straps all over it. So it's not just like a round ball. It's got like these handles that they can grab. So that's what they do. So that was cool. I'd never seen that before. Learned a little bit about polo cross. Oh, and they shoot it into like hoops, almost like basketball. And then we watched the Belgian demonstration. And then Sunday I watched a guy work a colt right away in the morning. Can't remember his name either. I don't remember any of their names except for Amberly Snyder. But I watched him work this green colt, this Cremello gelding, that they were working on starting. So watched him for a little bit, and then we went and watched actual polo. So there was just a group of girls like practicing playing polo in the Coliseum, which was cool. It wasn't like full speed or anything like that, but it was still cool to watch. We ate some more food. The only thing on my list that I didn't find while shopping was a magnetic sheet. So that was the only thing that I was bummed about. They did have them there in the shopping center. Like some vendors had magnetic sheets for sale, but the cheapest one I found was like $250. So I was like, I'm not ready to commit to that level of nice yet. I really wanted to find one like secondhand at the 4-H sale, or like Snyder's right now, I think has them on sale for like $100. Now I have heard that not all magnetic sheets, like they're not all the same quality, basically. They're not all created equal. So I'm sure the more expensive ones are better or like have stronger magnetic pull to them. But since I've never used one, I just want to experiment with one now, because then if I feel like it really doesn't work or I don't notice anything about it, then I haven't spent like $300 on a sheet. That magnetic pole strap I bought was like $40. So it's definitely not cheap. That the booth that I bought them from was Pretty Polos. And they had some awesome tack, all kinds of patterns of headstalls and boots and bell boots. But they had a lot of magnetic stuff as well. They had the sheets, they had magnetic fly masks, they had the pole straps, they had the leg boots and stuff like that. So they had a lot of options. But yeah, I just went with the pole strap for now. I'll just probably order one off Snyder's at some point. But yeah, that was the only thing I didn't find. So yeah. Anyway, I wanted to get on here today because I had a couple things on my mind lately. I've been on TikTok, and I've gotten into like the horse community on TikTok, and I've just seen some videos that I just don't get. For one, the mare haters. This will always get me in trouble probably for my whole life, but I just don't understand the mare haters. Why people hate mares. Like, does anybody know what I mean? Like, I get so frustrated and honestly annoyed. Like, I just have to roll my eyes at the people that just like have something against mares. I don't get it. Like, I've owned myself about, I want to say 15 horses now in my life. Most of them have been mares. I've had a couple boys in there. And I have 2 boys right now. So like, I'm not a gelding hater. I'm not, it's nothing like that. I don't hate geldings, but there are people that hate mares and just will never own a mare just because it's mare. And I don't understand those people. I don't get why like literally mares existing pisses people off. I know a lot of people don't like them because they're moody or because they have a heat cycle, and just like literally just because they have a heat cycle. I'm like, okay, especially because 90% of the equestrian industry is women. Like it's us girls out here, okay? Why are we hating on other girls for having a heat cycle when we ourselves are out here having a heat cycle? Like, we have a menstrual cycle. I don't understand. You hate mares because they have a heat cycle, because they have like a time every like month or 2 months. My mares have never had a regular heat cycle. If they do, I don't know when it is. That's how unnoticeable it is. But you're mad at them for menstruating or having a week out of the month that they like maybe are in pain. Like there's some humans out there with endometriosis, with like PCOS, like that literally can't go to work during those weeks because they're in so much agonizing pain. But like if our mares are a little bit moody or a little ear pinny because maybe they're in heat or they are experiencing discomfort, we're like, it's because it's a mare. What? Like, seriously? I don't understand that mentality. It's like, girl, do you not experience the same thing? Like, you can't sympathize with the animal at all? Or like, because the animal is opinionated or moody once in a while? Like, dude, same. I don't get up every day like all chipper excited to go to work today. Like, some days I do, but some days I'm like, dude, fuck this. Like, I don't want to do shit today. Or honestly, I think that mares are more opinionated and moody because they are smart. And geldings, a lot of times, they're just fucking dumb. Like, their thought processes don't make sense most of the time. They just literally do shit, like, just to get a treat afterwards. And mares aren't like that. They're like, no, I know you're gonna work my ass today, and I don't feel like it. Fuck your treat. Like, they're smart. Like, they can think for themselves, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that makes a really good horse. I think that makes a trail horse that can decide what the easiest route is gonna be, makes a horse that can take themselves home easily, that's gonna understand, do I want to throw a giant tantrum, waste all my energy and calories because I don't want to cross this puddle, or do I just cross the puddle? Like, that's how mares are, in my opinion. The geldings, they will have a fucking meltdown over the stupid ass puddle for 15 minutes, get themselves all sweaty and worked up until they decide to go through the puddle because they're now exhausted. But mares, like, I've just experienced mares being such better horses. And I'm not saying there's not great geldings out there. I'm not saying that at all. There are good geldings out there. But I just don't understand the mentality that mares are a problem, or that people don't want to deal with mares just because they have like feelings and thoughts. Like, what do you mean? Honestly, most of the time in the pasture, like a lot of people call mares the pot stirrers, and you don't want to have mares in your herd because they're the reason that the geldings are all worked up and stuff. Okay, let's just be for real for a second. Most of the time I've worked at multiple horse facilities now. I've worked at several boarding facilities. I've worked on a horse ranch. I've had my own herds now forever. Usually what's happening is the mares are menstruating, and yes, they might walk around with their tail up and stuff, but literally for the most part, just existing. And I'm aware that there are mares out there that will tease and stuff like that, but that's not the majority of them. The majority of them are literally just existing, going through their heat cycle, and your gelding is the one making a fucking scene, like completely dropped, erect, probably trying to mount somebody over the fence, like pacing back and forth, wasting their energy all day because your gelding is losing its mind. Meanwhile, the mare is probably like 50 feet over there grazing with her tail up, just like chilling out, existing, and your gelding literally can't get his shit together. Like, most of the time it's not even the mare's fault. It's not even the mare causing the problem. It's your gelding being a fucking idiot. And let's honestly, I just want to say, geldings, the ones that are assholes, not saying they all are, again, I'm not a gelding hater, the ones that I have right now are really good, but I have met several geldings at the boarding facilities that I've worked at that are assholes 7 days a week, all the time. Most of the mares aren't really like that. If they are moody, if they are grumpy a few days out of the month, like, it's probably because there's a reason, but your gelding is literally a fucking dumbass all the time. All the time. So it's like, what do you mean you don't like mares? Because they have an attitude once in a while. Your gelding is literally like the worst. He's like my least favorite horse on this whole property. So I just don't even get it. And the people that are like, oh, I just don't want to deal with the heat cycle. Like, okay, Jennifer, like, your husband probably says the same thing about you every month, but like, he's still here every month going through it. So it's just like, why are we like minimizing mares? Okay. Sorry if the camera angle changed for those of you on YouTube because my storage got full. But anyways, the other thing that I've been thinking about lately is the other thing I saw on TikTok was the discussion of mixed herds at boarding facilities. So I kind of understand both sides. Like, I understand wanting to have a mixed herd because it is how horses naturally are in the wild. Like, you know, boys and girls, like they can operate perfectly fine with a mixed herd. The horse ranch that I worked at was a mixed herd all year. 12 months out of the year, the same herd went out together. And there is the argument that that is an established herd and that those horses aren't changing. There's not horses coming and going all the time if you own all the horses. And I get that. And I get, like, if you're in a boarding facility, that is happening. There's a lot of horses coming and going, and the geldings can get territorial, and some of them are super studly. But once again, that comes down to the geldings. That's not a mare problem. Like, those are the geldings, and some geldings are so ridiculously studly. And I'm not sure, I'm not a vet, so I'm not really sure if that pertains to, like, how they were gelded or, the gelding process, if they were gelded too late in life, or if, I know that there are horses that are proud cut, but, like, geldings just beating the shit out of each other and becoming super territorial of the mares, like, new geldings coming in will sometimes trigger mares to go into heat. Again, not something that they can control. But geldings just willingly choose to be fucking stupid sometimes. And they'll beat the crap out of each other. They'll, get really territorial over the mares. And I can understand how that will become a problem. From my experience, we have had some boarders at the barns that I've worked at that throw a fit because their gelding is so studly that they start having issues in the training process or in their daily work routine. And the solution always seems to be for people, well, just keep them away from the mares. And I'm sorry, if your horse, no matter if it's a mare or a gelding or a stallion, whatever, if it cannot control itself being around mares or being away from the mares, if you are having such an issue that the horse is now so buddy sour because it's away from the mare, or even if it's away from another gelding, if your gelding is attached to another gelding, if they're so buddy sour, if they are literally dangerous because they are having such a fit and can't focus and can't work because they're away from their friends or away from their herd, that's a training issue. That is not just like oh, well, it's because my horse can't handle being around mares. Well, your horse should be able to handle being around mares. There are people out there that literally own stallions, good stallions, that can be around other mares perfectly fine when they're under saddle or when they are being handled. So the fact that your gelding is just having a freaking meltdown because you pulled it out of the pasture to work for the day and now it's away from that mare that might be in heat, or it's away from whoever is its buddy, that's a training issue. Your horse just needs a swift kick in the ass. And a lot of people aren't going to do it because they think it's mean or whatever. But that literally just comes down to the fact that your horse can act that way and it will get away with it around you. And it knows that. So it's going to keep acting that way. It's not just like oh, well, it's the mare's fault. Literally, what is the mare's fault? Like, just the fact that she exists? No, your horse has an issue that needs to be corrected and you're not going to do it. So your only solution is to isolate it away from mares or other horses because it can't handle itself. Well, teach it to. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm going to heat it up. Having self-control, having mental control is a skill that horses have to learn. And we teach that a lot to the colts that are babies and they don't know how to be away from their herd. They don't know how to work in situations they're not comfortable in. They have tantrums because they don't know how to handle their emotions. It is the same thing all through the horse's life. They have to learn how to handle their emotions and they have to learn how to keep their cool even when they don't want to sometimes. And that's what makes a really good horse, is when even you can tell the horse is kind of tense, the horse is kind of uncomfortable, he's not really sure, it can keep its cool and still be a good horse because you have taught it to. And you have taught it that lashing out, having tantrums, having these wild emotions that could hurt somebody isn't acceptable. Now, I'm not saying just beat the shit out of your horse anytime it's being difficult. That's not what I'm saying. Horses have to learn that skill. But if you are never going to teach it to your horse just because you think it's mean, well, then you shouldn't be handling horses, because you're going to create a dangerous horse that's going to get somebody hurt because it doesn't know how to handle itself. So that might be a wild opinion. Some people might I'm sure some people are going to disagree with that. But that's just how I look at it from a training standpoint. Somebody that trains horses every day and is working with horses every day, that your horse has the ability to learn. If you're not going to teach it, then either give it to somebody that will, or just don't handle horses unless they are bomb-proof, dead broke horses that you're buying for yourself. Because, especially at a boarding facility, with somebody else is handling your horse. This is what drives me nuts about boarding facilities, is that and I work at them, so I'm not saying they shouldn't exist, but it drives me nuts. And I hope I never have to board my horse in a stall situation, because they just develop so many bad habits and so many different people are handling the horses on a day-to-day basis. And if your horse has any issues or any bad habits that it's developing that aren't corrected or fixed, you are not only putting yourself at risk, but all the other people that have to be around it. And that just isn't cool to me. That's not teaching horses to be good citizens. And that's what people like me work their whole life to learn how to do, is how to create good horses that can be good citizens out in the world and be successful at their jobs and be enjoyed by everybody and live a good life out in the pasture in a mixed herd, if that's what I have, but can still be a good citizen under saddle. So yeah, it's rough. But I don't like putting conditions and stipulations. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode because my storage on my phone keeps filling up, so I can't record this. But I hope you guys enjoyed. let me know what your thoughts are about mixed herds and all that stuff down below. And if you attended the Midwest Horse Fair this year, let me know down below. What did you enjoy about the weekend? What was your favorite part? What did you go see? I did not get to see everything, but I know a lot of people that literally drive there just for the day and drive home. And like from me, it's about a little over 2 hours. And I have friends that live farther away than me that sometimes drive all the way up there for Saturday and drive all the way back. So that seems kind of wild to me, but let me know if you guys are horse fair goers and what your favorite part is. And thanks for listening to my spiel today. And I will see you guys in the next episode, hopefully with a guest. But I'll keep you updated on that. So we'll see you guys later. Bye.